things I never expected to do in my job was to be a touch point for all of the marketing that goes on around the Olympics and around the World Cup.
This is Unlawful. Afternoon and welcome to Unlawful. As always, I'm Brandon Renken, and with me today is Vanessa Chandis. How are you doing, Vanessa?
I'm good.
So Vanessa is the older sister of one of my college soccer teammates, but she's also a lawyer at NBC, and I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about what she does.
So I am a VP of Business and Legal Affairs, but instead of sitting in our corporate legal group at NBCU, I am embedded within our content distribution group. And that's basically the business side of TV. What content distribution means is you take all of NBCU's broadcast stations, linear cable channels. So linear cable channels means your 24/7 TV viewing. And so NBC owns the obvious ones, the NBC, MSNBC. We also own USA, Bravo, E, Oxygen, Golf Channel, Universal Kids, Universo, and then we own a bunch of regional sports networks. And we take all of those channels and we put them into the big bad cable bundle.
It's funny that you call it that, because I was actually going to ask you that, because you've kind of been involved at the apex of change in that
Yes,
world.
there's a lot going on.
How has that impacted your life? The fact that streaming is attacking, and whether it's streaming cable, like at my house, I have DirecTV app, right? So I don't have any cable. How's that affecting you on the ground,
So technically, you do have cable because you're still getting live linear television. So you don't have a cable box, that's correct, but you're actually still getting cable programming and you're still paying for that. Now,
those bundles are the same even though they're app-based?
Yes.
Nice. I did not know that.
Right. So you've got your group of what I call our traditional distributors. So that's anywhere, this is going to be a little like rote and boring, but it's it's like the traditional cable providers that you know, their household names, right? Comcast, Charter, and Altice. And then you've got Cox that are a lot of broadband based. And then you've got DirecTV and you've got Dish as satellite providers. Then you have what we call virtual MVPDs, and those are Fubo, DirecTV Stream, which sounds like the product you have, Sling, Hulu Live, YouTube TV. And while you're streaming them on an app, it's still live TV. You're still getting your live news, you're still getting your live sports. So you are still paying for the programming that you're viewing on a live basis, as opposed to an on-demand or a subscription on-demand basis, which is like a Netflix, for instance.
Interesting. So basically, to the extent that NBC owns content, however it doles it out, if it's not on demand, it's considered cable bundle or
Correct. Yeah. So anything that's live TV, so live viewing, anything that's free video on demand, right? So you can go your on-demand button and you can watch last night's Vanderpump Rules season premiere, right? Obviously, I mean, it's a great show. And then anything where you are watching on a device, like your phone or your iPad, and you're logging in and you're using your TV subscription credentials to watch outside the home, that is all encompassed in the distribution agreements we do with those cable providers, live TV providers.
So I imagine some of this has had to be changed since you started, right?
Yeah, I started NBC in November of 2015, and that was just when these, what we call digital streamers, were getting ready to, like, starting to come into the industry.
As stupid as this sounds, it's so impactful on the culture that it has been a huge kind of turning point technologically, socially.
I agree with you. I think that the change is happening right now with all of the direct-to-consumer apps like Peacock or Disney Plus, Max, Paramount Plus. It's all kind of hitting at the perfect time, right? They're all these factors are colliding, where you've got a decline in watching linear TV on a TV, right? That package is really driven by live news and live sports. And all of these programmers are trying to find the balance between maintaining the value that these linear networks bring to households, right, for live TV viewing, with consumers and their shifting behaviors and watching content via streaming and direct apps that, consumers who don't want to pay for X, Y, or Z channels just to get Sunday Night Football, right? So I worked at Weil Gotshal. I was a complex commercial litigator. So I did that for years. I was a litigator at Hart Law School and like litigation, none of this transaction stuff. Worked at Weil, and I had really amazing experiences there. I worked on a variety of cases, variety of issues. So they really just gave me like this breadth of experience there. But I kind of got to the point where I'm like, you know what, this partner path, not for me, never was. Lifestyle, work-life balance, all of that. And I was reaching the point in my career where I'm like, what am I going to do next? When you're a junior lawyer, especially at a big law firm, but you have to start steering your own course, right? And navigating it.
Yeah.
I will admit it felt a little daunting when I first started looking for jobs, but it was not the end of the world. And this job in NBCUniversal content distribution popped up. And I'm like, oh, this sounds kind of interesting. And I was like, all right, well, I like TV and media. It's a good industry to be in. It sounded like a good environment and a culture. And that for me, it's a really important aspect. Like work for me is where I spend the majority of my day. And I want to be surrounded in a culture of people that I really can enjoy, right? After an 18-hour day, you still would be okay going to have a drink with them.
But it only happens if you're willing to take that moment that you said to steer the ship, right?
Right. So, unlawful moment. I've been thinking about this, Brandon. I think for me, coming from a law firm, but being in-house and especially at a company, NBC, there are so many internal clients. I have the networks. I do a lot of work with NBC Sports, the networks, plus our content distribution, our sales and marketing and digital teams and other networks and ad sales and privacy. Like our business is touching all of these other businesses within the company.
Sure.
What I never expected to do in my job was to be a touch point for all of the marketing that goes on around the Olympics and around the World Cup and all of the distributors that have deals with us. So they then have our coverage, right, of these events. And now with Peacock, and Peacock has coverage of these events as well. Most of that has gone through our marketing team's eyes, my eyes, to make sure that they're promoting our coverage of the Olympics or the World Cup on their platform. The Olympics, Spanish language World Cup, Premier League, Sunday Night Football. I mean, doing that work with our marketing team and with the NBC Sports group, like that is things I never thought, one, I'd be doing. Two, when I looked at the job description, when I applied for the job, I'd be doing. Right. And then three, it like all hit home for the Women's World Cup. After the trophy ceremony, they had the credits rolling, and there in the credits was my name because I was part of helping with all the marketing and getting our promotion out there with our distribution partners. So that was a really cool moment of, oh, I am doing something that is touching the lives of people and bringing enjoyment. And you can do that as a lawyer still.
We talk a lot about moments on this show, but that credit is such a cool, like, actual moment. Like, you're a part of it.
Yeah. It was cool. And it was also like a good moment of, NBC itself is a good company, right? It wants to give the people who do the work like recognition and credit. And honestly, I don't think that can be said for all companies that people work for. And I think that they recognize that that's important is a fantastic quality in a company.
Vanessa, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me.
Thank you. It's been great.
Great. That's Unlawful.